Zillow is still a product. They're Ford, Chevy. They're the big boy, no doubt about it. But I don't know. Maybe the road still needs to be defined.
Maybe Zillow thinks they're Ferrari, Elliot. Don't you?
Hey, welcome to the iBuyer Experiment. This is Jason Leos, Kayla Leos, Keith Howard, and Elliot Chamajeskij.
Oh, that time.
See, Colby, I messed it up.
In the pre-show, he did a phenomenal job, and I was just complimenting. I was like, man, after all these years, you can finally say my last name.
I can do it.
All right, say it for us, Elliot.
Tomaszewski. Just say it. Don't be afraid of it.
Yeah. Tomaszewski. It's Thomas Sheshki.
Okay,
right.
welcome. So today we got a cool topic. We're going to talk about how technology is going to change real estate, and we're going to talk about the autonomous car element.
Yeah, actually, I'm watching the Tesla annual shareholders meeting right now. Elon Musk is talking.
Musk?
Yes, he's talking about the Robo taxis.
The Robotaxi fleet.
Yep.
Okay, tell us about it, Jason.
Well, he's thinking he's really close. I mean, obviously he's been saying that for years, but there's a lot of people that say it's really close within a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, so what do you mean by he's really close? Like explain what's going to happen.
Well, they just released their new FSD, which is the full self-driving, and it's really good.
It's
driving
far better than a human
without you even having touched the steering wheel.
Yeah.
For miles and miles and miles, and you can watch videos all over YouTube right now. People just sitting in their car, not touching the steering wheel whatsoever, and it's driving them, 10, 20, 30 miles away.
It's pretty cool.
Making full turns, going in turning lanes.
Interpreting what's going on in front of it fully, right? So that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, so I guess we want to talk about is how is that going to change real estate, right? I mean, number one, if people don't have to commute, or if the commute's not, physically intensive because you're having to keep your eyes on the road and doing this, will people move out further?
Okay, that's one way it could impact real estate.
I mean, if home affordability, we have a home affordability problem, right?
We do.
A lot of it's because, everything's expensive. Everyone's crammed in and
commute, traffic.
Yeah.
What will that look like to cut down on traffic?
But if you could build a community, 50 miles away from the downtown
Office,
area, or
Metropolis.
And it's cheaper, cheaper land or whatever. People can just cruise right into the office or wherever they work and have a cheaper living.
Well, and think about this on so many facets, right? Being able to, like, we all know Uber Eats and stuff like that. What's it going to look like for the autonomous cars that are going to be delivering some type of
Food,
Uber Eats?
Yep.
Just deliver it to here, walk outside your car, pick it up, boom,
Have
there
like
you
a
go.
little arm that comes out the door.
I know.
Yeah, you think a lot of the most it's going to be cheaper too, because obviously the most expensive part of Uber Eats is the human that's bringing it there and picking it up and doing all the stuff, right? So that gets cheaper.
Same thing for Uber, Lyft. You remove the human, it's going to get cheaper.
I mean, I think it might take out Uber.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Tesla's, they're not going to, like, give their cars to Uber. They're going to have their own Uber.
So Tesla's plan is to have their own Robotaxi.
Oh, yeah.
Their own fleet.
Heck yeah.
That's what I didn't know that until Kayla shared that with me earlier when we were talking about some pre-show stuff.
And the amount of cars that they're able to build right now. I mean, they just announced that they had their first week where they manufactured 5,000 cars in 1 week.
Oh,
wow.
And that's in one factory.
That's in one. It's in Austin.
One of their gigafactories.
It's
that's
the
Austin,
factory in Austin. How many is that, like, per hour?
Oh.
We got to run the math
there's
on that.
There's 172 hours per week, right? Isn't that the 162 or 172? I forget what it is.
Well, 7 times 24. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think it's
168.
168. I knew it was some.
So
5,000 divided.
Wow, that's almost 30 cars an hour.
That'd be wild to watch.
That would be wild.
Wow.
Especially in one factory.
In one factory.
Yes.
That's just one factory, yeah.
How many assembly lines is that? Like imagine, especially because all their like, I mean, we've all seen their, YouTube videos of like the robots working inside a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, that'd be pretty cool. That would be. I'm with Keith. I'd love to see that.
Oh yeah, us too. Jason's gonna try and get in for the investor lottery.
Yeah, you have to go to a lottery and stuff like that.
So then we can go to one of the shareholder meetings.
Up.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yes,
okay, so 5,000 cars a week.
Yeah, so they're building gigafactories, new gigafactories all over the place. So they're ramping up for this too. So it's not like they're not only ramping up to build cars to sell them, but they're going to ramp up to build cars to create a Robotaxi fleet.
And do you have any
national world
fleet?
How any estimate of how many cars are going to be in this Robotaxi fleet?
However many they want to have.
Okay, I was just curious.
Especially if they're busting out 5,000 a month, right? I mean,
yeah.
think about how much even just 5,000 cars here in the Phoenix metro, if you were to deploy 5,000 Ubers, how much that would disrupt our own marketplace here for the Uber Lyft market.
So let's stay with that. So Robotaxis let's say you can call a Tesla, and apparently it's going to be extremely inexpensive to hail a ride.
And the reason is because obviously it's electricity. It's not.
Yep.
It's not gas, and then you don't have a human there. So if you don't have a human there, you're not paying for a human. So what happens when you can jump in a car and travel 8 miles and it costs $1.50?
There's almost no reason to have a car.
And think about how much more money people will have that don't have to have a car, that are paying. I think the average car payment now is $700. Right?
I know.
That's the average right now. So I mean, it's fascinating to think that we're a few years away from maybe taking an 8-mile ride for $1.
And a lot of people eliminating that $700-800 a month because again, doing simple math on that, $700 a month is roughly $100,000 worth of mortgage.
Yep.
So that's pretty remarkable.
Isn't that funny? That's exactly where our mind goes. Is like, how much more can people afford?
Yeah. Home affordability, right? I mean, they're going to be able to afford more houses, which is pretty fascinating in itself. And then, not to mention, the amount of land this is going to open up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about, I don't know what the study was, but there is how many parking lots there are out there.
Oh boy.
Just they have to have a certain amount of parking spaces for a store or something like that because people they drive, they got to park and they got to get out and go. But
you have to have two parking places per I forget what it is, but yeah.
So people are saying that's gonna open up a bunch of land, but then if people don't have to live all crammed together and they can go further out because they don't have to commute, then will prices go down in the metropolis, like the downtown areas where people want to be, because they don't want to live there because they can drive far and
there's still
jump in an Uber and watch TikTok for half an hour. And
exactly, it's almost like they're decompressed, right?
Yeah,
they're decompressed.
I mean, it's still time in vehicle though. So even though you're not driving, it's still time, but you do look back, the DMV area, and a lot of people ride commuter trains.
Oh yeah.
It's a thing, and they probably work on them and listen to podcasts and watch TikTok. And
there's a lot of people back east that they still their commute time is, like you said, it's car and train, and it's a 2-hour commute to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you, for me personally, I would imagine this is going to apply to a lot of people. Yeah, living far out would suck because of the commute. But if you don't have, what sucks is the driving part.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're the one having to start and stop and deal with the traffic, I can't do this anymore. But if you're just, hey, whether you want to play around and have fun or you want to be more businessy and do stuff, I mean, for the right circumstance, I could see myself doing it. Like, all right, cool. This is my office for the next hour.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. If you can log in. Well, and we all know virtual's on the rise, right? And a lot of stuff where companies like Slack and those types of things where you can start technically logging in and working with the team, et cetera, that could absolutely change that piece of it where you can be effective in the car because now you're paying attention to the workflow of what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. So potentially a redistribution of area and more urban sprawl.
Yes.
I think one of the things that fascinates me, and you've talked with me about this before, Jason, is how like the futurists are out there and they're buying options on parking lots in anticipation of not needing as many parking spots. And when that time should come, what their hope is they'll be able to exercise their option on the parking lot and then maybe convert it into a different use case or convert it into, maybe like a facility where cars come and be inspected and washed and that sort of thing. Yeah. And that fascinates me. I love that thought. Yeah.
So right now, like if you own a car, I think it's driven like 4 or 5 hours a week or something like that. Like an average 4 or 5 hours a week. So now like with cars that are driving
they'll
themselves,
run nonstop.
They'll run like 60, 70 hours a week or
if not even more.
Yeah, even more. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting.
It is interesting. And then it got us thinking that as technology changes, vehicles, and as that kind of shifts the real estate landscape, well, we know that there's going to be a ton more automation in the real estate sector. Mike Del Prete came out and said that AI is the new Zestimate, and that's going to be the Zestimate of the future is AI. And we were just having a little debate about this previously, and Colby's like, "Oh, well, we got to start the podcast if you guys are fighting." So Elliot and I were fighting.
Wow.
Debating.
Our
debating.
Yeah, what the debate was is I said, well, when's the autonomy of real estate going to happen? And you said, well, it's already happening in certain companies and sectors, and which I agreed with. And then we had said, hey, who's going to, if there's the vehicle, what's the road, right? And again, we were speaking in metaphor. And you had challenged that Zillow was the road. And I said, I don't know. Maybe the road still has yet to be defined, meaning the path that everybody travels on, right? What's the technology, the superhighway in which that they travel on? Where my challenge was, Zillow is still a product. They're Ford, Chevy. They're the big boy, no doubt about it. But I don't know. Maybe the road still needs to be defined.
Maybe Zillow thinks they're Ferrari, Elliot.
Don't you?
Well, Zillow bought Showing Time.
Yep.
And I think that's their futuristic play right here, because I think they're
genius.
This is an automation to show houses. Now,
well, it's data.
How do we get from being able to schedule a showing to a property and actually go without an agent?
Yeah. So
how does someone go without an agent? And what is the trust factor there? Before Uber came along, people would never say,
right.
Yeah, I'll jump in a car with a stranger, that's a hitchhiking, right? You never know who that person is. But now people do it all the time. It's just,
Uber does the vetting for you, right? They qualify the driver, they qualify the car, right? And they even have insurance policy, right?
I think that Showing Time, they're going to do the same thing. It's going to be like, hey, this is a trusted person that can come into your house, if you get that showing.
I mean, it's not hard to mentally get there. I can remember about 5 years ago, we came up with this concept and thought it would just be so cool to build some sort of trust verification process so that you could allow buyers to self-tour.
Yep.
And, you kind of, even a real estate agent, you're putting a lot of trust in that person just because they have a fingerprint clearance card really doesn't mean much, especially if they're like me and they got it 20 years ago, right? Like I haven't had
there's been no updating.
Right. So, you are placing a lot of trust in random people, and it's just the system that enables you to extend trust. And so there could be a system, Showing Time could be one for Zillow. And, it's something that we talk about here. We definitely want to create that as well so that we can bridge that gap, especially for vacant properties. There's no reason that a buyer can't go tour that. And with all the disruption that could be happening in real estate, I think that it's important to give buyers that pathway.
Agreed. And why is it so hard to sometimes get into a property, even when somebody lives in it, right? I mean, think about it for the homeowner. It can be very disruptive when they want to see it within 5 minutes. You just sat down for dinner, or tonight's not convenient, right? Mm-hmm. And then there are agents calling, harassing you. Your agent's calling, right? There's that back and forth. It's difficult between the agents. And it doesn't have to be, right, through, I think, today's modern application, right? Like, it's just an online shared, it's available, it's not, take it on, put it on, right? Like, all those things that they could do very, very simply in a showing time. Just log into the application.
Well, Turo does it, too. And they do.
Yep.
I mean, you can rent somebody's car with they take photos of your license and take a picture of yourself. And
well, I Turo.
Pick up a car.
I Turo. Yeah, we Turo our cars. I mean, as you know. I mean, it's a very simple, easy process.
Your car hasn't ended up in Mexico yet, right?
Not yet.
Right.
Has it ever been trashed?
No, never.
No?
There was one time like I got it back and like there was like a dent or something in the back, and so they have different. Yeah, long story short, I just personally chose to get it fixed, but for that particular vehicle, what it's profited us, it was worth. It was worth.
Yeah.
It was
You'll
worth
take a dent or two, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
It was worth the easy repair.
What's the most random thing somebody's left behind in one of the vehicles?
Nothing actually.
Nothing.
that I
Nothing
can
creepy.
think
Nothing gross.
Nope.
Cool.
Nope, nothing. It's been a pretty clean
Not that
experience.
you found, right?
Yeah, not that I've found. Who knows what happened when they had the car?
That's funny.
But that goes back to the autonomy thing. That's the only thing that I was thinking about before is like, well, what are all the little side businesses that are going to happen? Like, who's going to clean the car? Who's going to, obviously the electric car, because again, we have a Tesla, but it is very low maintenance. It really is. But I mean, for us in our Tesla, the time or two that has gone to the shop, it's definitely been on the pricier side to fix. But there's just less moving stuff with all of the engines, right? It's more like suspension, tires, the windshields, because of all the cameras and stuff like that are more expensive.
Right, the electrical stuff.
Yeah, well, I've had no electrical problems thus far.
That's good.
So
Yeah, well, it's definitely, things are changing, and I think that the pace of change is coming at us faster than we can even imagine. And so we do need to start imagining what the future is going to look like so that we can anticipate and get there so that we're there when it comes.
yeah, well, and that's like for me, we're talking about like autonomy and like what does that look like? And I mean, yes, it's there, but I would still challenge that the full process, which is I know something that we aspire to do at Zoodealio, is what does that landscape look like for a full autonomous situation where you could be standing in a house, literally click it and buy it. Literally, by the time you're backing out, having escrow sending you documents, disclosures that you can digitally sign, and a bank draft that you can log on and just instantly send money over for your earnest money deposit. And then if everything on a vacant home, if you want to close in 10 days or, after your inspection is done, close that quick.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, we all know that the money's there, it's available. Like, again,
Or what if the house is sitting on the blockchain and it already has a pre-inspection and there is no escrow company and you want to buy it and you walk through it and you decide this is right for me and you move in the next day.
Yeah, you can check out. It's almost like a checkout type experience.
There could be that.
As long as you pre-do it, like you said, like where there's like a pre-inspection and that's uploaded on a blockchain or a site where they could log in and be able to look through everything and then check out. Be pretty cool.
It'd be so cool.
I think it's
Keith's got something in there.
No, it would be cool, but I mean, I'm just thinking about what we go through with title. I'm just like, a day? All right, well, a lot's got to change there.
Yes.
That's another rabbit hole, though.
Yeah. It's definitely
I think
change.
and it's also one of the areas most ripe for disruption. I mean, it's constantly talked about, and I think there's only like 5 or 6 title companies in the entire U.S., right? And then they pretty much own all of the other title companies, give or take, whether that's exact or not.
The problem, though, with that is even if that was the case, you're dealing with the counties and the different cities and states.
Yeah.
And you have a third party, a part of the transaction that a lot of times are completely out of your control what that timeline looks like. So,
Yeah, there are little nuances in difficulties.
hell yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, I mean, think about even like, some of the HOA disclosures and stuff like that, how that causes slowdowns.
So, yeah, but you think about it, though, and typically, if you want to rush an HOA statement, you can for a fee. And so if HOAs had it readily available and, on-demand download for an additional fee or something, I mean, it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
It is possible. It's exciting.
There's another business right there, right?
Really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
Those on-demand HOAs.
Yeah.
Like creating some sort of software where they have like a daily, like, or it's like
It just
updated every
publishes.
hour.
Mm-hmm. Like real time.
Real-time HOA payoffs. You just get it, and there it is.
Well, and if they came up with a system around fluidity on it, they would actually drive the cost down, right? So that $100, $150 rush fee that a lot of these HOA companies charge may
The
not.
problem
may not
is
be there.
there's a lot of human interaction
Yeah.
there that they don't want to get rid of right now because it's it's their job.
Yep.
Well, what I find most fascinating about today's topic is Tesla is changing vehicles, but it's also changing real estate.
Agreed.
And we get to sit here and watch it all unfold, and it's so exciting. And we want to say thank you for listening. Hey, if you have any thoughts on how technology is changing real estate, please reach out. We would love to hear from you, and thanks so much for watching.